Hello and welcome to News Tonight. I am Rhoda Ngonzi on sign language Elizabeth Nakakoni. Let's dig into it. President Yoweri Museveni and the First Lady Janet Museveni, also Minister for Education and Sports, have launched Uganda's joint bid to host the African Cup of Nations AFCON tournament at State House Entebbe. President Museveni welcomed the idea to host AFCON in 2027 but warned youth not to be lost in sports and forget other income-generating activities. The president said that sports promotes good health. He also noted that sports is a source of entertainment for players and spectators, which is better than going to the bar and indulging in, indulging in other activities.
Africa pamoja bid holding the three founding nations of East Africa is a timely initiative for fostering and widening East Africa integration for a common market in the future. But we also welcome it because it gives an opportunity to our young people to get to know each other and to do things together.
And as Mama was saying, that guiding of people in sports, either to participate or to watch, is better than people going to bars and other bad areas. The legs, you learn how to coordinate all these. It's good. You train your people. You may find somebody cannot coordinate his body, but sports teaches you how to coordinate. When the ball is coming to you, how do you stop it? Using the leg. So it trains your body to coordinate better. Wherever I am, I do sports. But sports must be part of a totality, not just isolated. Especially the spectators. When you come to spectate, what have you done before you came? Because the other one is like a manipulation. They swell the crowds, they go back to misery.
Now, the First Lady and Minister for Education and Sports, Janet Museveni, has said that the belief of the traditional family unit is an idea that stems from God's design. She was speaking during the wedding Silver Jubilee celebration for Bishop Nathan and Mama Liliana Himbisiwe, the South Ankole Bishop. That's Bishop Nathan. She conveyed President Yoweri Museveni's greetings and good wishes to the bishop and his wife for the 25 years of love, hard work, and the strength they get from God to endure all things.
Speaking during the wedding Silver Jubilee celebration for Bishop Nathan and Mama Liliana Himbisiwe, which started with the First Lady opening the new home of the South Ankole Bishop in Nyakaima, Tungamo district, and thereafter a church service was held at Chamate Secondary School grounds. The First Lady conveyed President Museveni's greetings and congratulations to Bishop Himbisiwe and his wife for the 25 years of love, hard work, and the strength they get from God to endure all things.
I came to celebrate the family. The family is under a great attack. Harwens hati debating whether the family, as we know it, means anything anymore, or whether It is an outdated institution whose percentage has gone very low. Ezikuikiriza family, the traditional family, and the fact that the children, the human family that brings out the children, that takes care of the children, that's not important anymore. And they confirm and they strive to make the family look outdated, and they threaten that they use all the money they have, and they have a lot of it, that they fight the family, that they fight marriages to ensure that marriages will die away and separate. There is a purpose for a day like this. Really, there is a reason for us to come together to celebrate the family, because by God's grace we still believe in the family, in the human family, because it is God's idea.
She said that every wedding anniversary marks the triumph of the Lord's power, who keeps his promises even to the third and fourth generations. She added that we must tell of his power and the wonderful things he has done to the next generation, so that they also aspire to join the noble institution of marriage. Mrs. Museveni thanked God for this Silver Jubilee celebration of the Mbisiwes, saying that it is a true picture of love based on the truth and which endures all situations and things as stated in 1 Corinthians chapter 13, verse 4-8. She commended Bishop Mbisiwe and his wife Lillian for continuing to respect the vows they made 25 years ago and for knowing God in a special way. She also lauded the couple for being a leading example to their children and the rest of the community. The main celebrant, the Ankole Diocese Bishop Sheldon Mwesigwa, who presided over the service on behalf of the Archbishop of the Church of Uganda, His Grace Stephen Kazimba Mugalu, thanked the President and the First Lady for their unwavering support to the Church.
Archbishop and Mama Kazimba are happy for you, Bishop Nathan and Mama Lillian Mbisiwe. Very happy for you. And they thank God too for your 25 years in marriage. Glory to God for you and for your Christian stand and your being here. But we also in turn appreciate General Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, because we all live in homes. We know if the husband was not for this, she wouldn't be here.
Mama wihanga ebindi ntija kubiganira na mzee tuwe twabiganire konka mwebare kutukunda, mwebare kutukwasa, mwebare kundi ihanga, mwebare kutumbika nokombeka ihanga.
The colorful event was also attended by diocesan bishops Reuben Kisembo, Johnson Tunomjuni, Gad Akanjuna, George Turagushura, Dan Zoreka, and retired Bishop Zebende Masereka, who is also the Special Presidential Assistant in charge of Western Region. Also present was the Deputy Chief Justice, Richard Butera, among other dignitaries. Reporting for UBC, Baguma William.
Now, the first batch of martyrs have arrived at Namugongo. Celebrants rather have arrived at Namugongo Catholic Shrine just 10 days ahead of the annual 3rd June Martyrs' Day celebrations. The pilgrims arrived at 7 p.m. and were welcomed by head of tours of for pilgrims rather at the Catholic Shrine, Ben Tenga.
Every 3rd of June, Christians trek to commemorate the martyrdom of Uganda martyrs at Namugongo. At least 45 pages, 22 Catholics and 23 Protestants were murdered on orders of Kabaka Mwanga Basamolekere between 1885 and 1886. The first group of pilgrims has arrived from Bushenyi and were walking, chanting songs of praise to the Almighty God.
We are marching, we are marching.
The pilgrims told UBC that their journey began on the 12th of May and have spent 10 days on the way. Among the pilgrims is a 70-year-old and says the journey was a good experience. Preparations for 3rd June have already started, and this year they expect more than 2 million pilgrims. Besides, traders are also preparing their stalls with hope of making money. Sudat Kaye, UBC News.
Meanwhile, over 800 pilgrims from Lira Catholic Diocese have started their journey to the Martyrs' Shrine in Namugongo. The pilgrims set up on Friday night and today they rest at Chigumba. This year, the youngest pilgrim from Lira is 8 years and the oldest 88.
Luno lwe luguudo oluva e Lira nga lwolekera Kampala.
We will bring you that story in a bit. We apologize for that. But for now, police has launched investigations into the alleged increasing threat projected to legislators by the purported disgruntled security officers. That's the Officers Association. This follows an escalating gun violence by men in uniform.
Members of Parliament have reported to the police after receiving leaflets threatening their lives for neglecting living conditions of security officers.
They have threatened Parliament and other lawmakers to either handle their matters. The matters which they are talking about is recognize their service by improving their working environment, welfare, and increase their pay. And they warned that failure to do so, that if the lawmakers fail to handle their matters, they will stop leaving.
Police have established an emerging association purported to be for the disgruntled officers. These are pushing the legislators to revise policies concerning their standards of living.
We'd like to warn the alleged disgruntled officers who could be behind these anonymous threats that it is an offense to threaten lawmakers, and all the joint security agencies have administrative protocols of addressing concerns.
These developments have come amidst the widespread gun violence by the men in uniform, which has claimed lives of many. Meanwhile, police have directed territorial commanders to have special arrangements for Namugongo pilgrims.
But we've asked the territorial commanders to ensure that they are given close protection throughout their movement. We have pilgrims who have started moving from Kanungu, Lira. We have the ones from Gulu. All these are being protected.
Police calls for the public vigilance at the eve of schools reopening. Last week, police rescued 25 children in Wakiso and Barara from traffickers. Komagum Rogers and Abdul Nasim Lubwama, UBC News.
Ministry of Health needs funds to conduct a national census to determine the exact number of individuals with mental health illnesses. The Commissioner for Mental Health, Dr. Hasfa Lukwatas, has told stakeholders at an engagement meeting in Kampala.
The Minister of Health wants to carry out a national census on the prevalence and the impact of mental health illness in the country. Statistics show that 3.8% of the population experiences depression, including 5% of adults. Depression is a common disorder affecting millions of individuals worldwide.
I want a study to be done. I want this prevalence study to be done. And unfortunately, it is not a simple one. It is not a cheap one. It is going to be more than $1 billion shillings. That's for certain. It's going to be more than $1 billion shillings because we need quite a number of people who need to be trained in order to pick out. We do not have an instrument, we do not have a tool that will just put on your head to know that you have a mental illness. It requires just asking someone and observing what someone is doing in different situations. So that is the way we diagnose mental illnesses, or we find out if someone has a mental health problem. So that the fact that it goes in that direction, then it requires one more time, a bit of time, but also a bit of money. This one should even have happened yesterday. I mean, it is something that we have been longing to have.
That the mental health crisis that is coming our way is so imminent that we cannot afford to keep quiet. And we as an organization, Strong Minds, are working to scale the treatment for depression in Uganda, specifically with a big bias towards vulnerable women. Women, because we know that in Africa, the social and cultural construct places the woman so low, and in the way those dynamics are potentially responsible for triggering depression in them. And we see that in every place where we go. The other category that we prioritize are adolescents. And we feel that adolescents and young people are another place that we need to put our eyes when we are prioritizing for mental health.
Managing depression is a process which involves a combination of lifestyle changes and medical treatment. Women are more likely to be affected by depression than men, and it's even more common among pregnant women.
Yeah, we are seeing manifestation every day. We see people, and here people are shooting themselves. Instead of using other peaceful options, they take shortcut. They feel maybe they can no longer take whatever they are going through. And yet when they open up and talk about it, it's a step ahead to healing.
Zahara Abigaba, UBC News.
Meanwhile, over 800 pilgrims from the Lira Catholic Diocese have started their journey to the Martyrs' Shrine in Namugongo. The pilgrims set off on Friday night and today they rest at Chigumba. This year, the youngest pilgrim from Lira is 8 years old and the oldest is 88.
This is Lira Kampala Road, and the pilgrims from Lira Catholic Diocese are starting a trek to Namugongo Martyrs' Shrine in time to celebrate June 3rd Martyrs' Day. The journey starts at 1 a.m. every day, and every member paid at least 100,000 shillings to cater for meals at stopovers, identity, a t-shirt, and transport fare for returning home. Juventino Ekong, 88 years, is the oldest pilgrim from Lira Diocese this year. We caught up with him at Laura Lidi, where they had a small break on the first day. Here, Juventino has walked over 30 kilometers. He is seeking for God's forgiveness. 8-year-old Lunyolo Naume is another pilgrim walking for wisdom. She is the youngest in the team and wants to become a nun. 3 priests from the diocese have also joined this year, including a nun. For Father Joseph Ogwal, the diocesan pastoral coordinator, the pilgrimage is a dream come true in his life.
Because sometimes when you get weak, you find one pulling you, trying to raise you up so that you can continue. You find each one of us really assisting one another so that we move as a family. And this is really amazing, because when we do things as a family, then that unity becomes really to the maximum. So it is amazing, and it is a very interesting move, a very nice experience.
The team had a recollection a day prior to the start of the journey to help members prepare for the pilgrimage, as well as traffic sessions to mitigate the reoccurrence of traffic accidents that happened last year. Today, they had a one-day rest at Chigumba. UBC News.
And with that, we take a quick break. When we return, more details.
Jerry con. Jerry con. Hey, Master Blaster. Touch him, man. Bang Jerry con with muscle. Those ones who say go for you only. Mundava. Best movies I teach you. But never go with the muscali. Because of the cover is very far. Is you serious? Is serious you? What? Yeah? You step it on it. Add kilometers to your legs, and you get your sugar. We buy meat from Umaru, and Umaru refused to give you enough meat. Show him that they don't joke with you.
Okukakaluka n'okulungi kwetaagako omuntu akuyambako, n'olwekyo tujja kukuteerawo embeera esaanidde osobole okukola ekisinga awamu teri kitulema. This isn't just a girl. She is the future. This is a teacher, a doctor, a community leader, our future president.
She is our family's pride, and as her father, I will protect her from child marriage and talk to her about the dangers of teenage pregnancy. We each have a role to play in empowering our teenage girls to protect them from child marriage and pregnancy, because when we empower them, we empower our nation. Protect the girl, save the nation.
Take action. Report any case of defilement or child marriage to the police or call Sawuti 116.
This is the University of Africa. On the streets, you get your real education. Here, everybody has a degree of something. But the most important qualification is imagination. Her reason to imagine is slay. His reason is to be the goat. Theirs is to take the beat and make it lit. They want to test edgy until it is fire. Their reason for imagination is to add riz in style. Her reason to imagine is finesse. And hers is to find what's new and bussin'. So no matter what your situation, just use your imagination.
Iwakato, this is a quick call. I'm almost out of minutes.
Why rush through such important conversations? Airtel Uganda has made it possible for you to call across all networks in Uganda at the best rates with the new Bona voice bundles. Stay connected anytime, anywhere, with minutes valid for calls on all networks. Dial *100*1#. Select voice bundles and select Bona voice bundles today.
Airtel, a reason to imagine.
For 10 years, the Uganda Film Festival has been shining a light on Ugandan cinema.
This year, we're celebrating a decade of excellence in filmmaking, innovation, and storytelling. Get ready for a week of physical and online workshops, masterclasses, and film clinics with some of the most experienced film experts in the business. Experience the magic of cinema with a diverse lineup of films from Uganda, Africa, and beyond. The festival runs from the 22nd of May to the 2nd of June 2023 and culminates with the Awards Gala, a glittering event that recognizes and honors the best in Ugandan cinema.
The Resol Agribusiness Show is here under the theme Revolutionizing Agriculture through Value Addition, Innovation and Technology, scheduled for 13th to 16th June 2023 at Uhinga Stadium, Fort Portal Tourism City, with a free medical camp running throughout the show. Entrance is totally free. To sponsor, partner and participate, contact 0702 301 059 or 0773 458 492 or 0773 301 059.
At Timex Nutrition Center, we advise you on the right foods to eat, exercise profile to adopt, and lifestyle strategies which are compatible to your blood group and genotype. This empowers your body to prevent and treat many diseases like diabetes, blood pressure, arthritis, ulcers, obesity, and many others. For more information, find us at our head office in Kampala on Nassa Road, Conrad Plaza, 2nd floor, or call 0758 819 952 or 0778 288 361. We also have other branches in Bara and Jinja.
Welcome back. Still watching News Tonight. A memorandum of understanding has been signed between the HTS Union and the Uganda Association of External Recruitment Agencies. This in a bid to address infringement on rights of Ugandan migrant workers in the Middle East.
To address labour rights challenges by migrant workers, HTS Union and the Association of External Recruitment Agencies has signed a memorandum of understanding to end ill treatment of migrant workers.
The main purpose of the signing of this MOU is to promote and protect the Ugandan migrant workers that we as an association deploy abroad to work in the different countries in the Middle East.
It is apparent that we needed to have an agreement or an undertaking with them on how we as the organization on the other side that represents these workers to get into an undertaking on how best we are going to manage their affairs so as to promote and protect the interests and the rights of the migrant workers.
The Secretary General, HTS Union, Mauku Moses, says getting into partnership with recruitment agencies would address workers' predicaments.
We have to mitigate these negativities that have been spreading all over. Some of them are correct news about the torture, about the mistreatment of these domestic or migrant domestic workers, but we are only duty bound to ensure that we do the effective monitoring to ensure that we reduce on the magnitude of this type of suffering.
The project coordinator, Assumpta Namaganda, says a migrant workers resource center has been set up at the HTS Union in partnership with the International Labour Organization.
We have just set up the Migrant Resource Center specifically to handle
issues of workers or who are migrating, especially the migrant domestic workers, because they're the most vulnerable, the ones that are facing issues of trafficking, withholding of salaries, of their wages, and then mistreatment, yes, and sexual harassment.
The Executive Director at the Uganda Association of External Recruitment Agencies, Oramire Stewart, explains on the new Memorandum of Understanding.
But with this kind of relationship where we know that we have a partner that has affiliates or associates that side, if they cannot reach us, and they can, by the way, then they can reach our partners through the associations. You get me? So they don't have to run to the media when we have an extensive or elaborate framework or network through which they can reach us.
Over 200 labor export companies are licensed to export labor. Most migrant workers are in Saudi Arabia, United Arab Emirates, Oman and Qatar. Sudat Kaye and Douglas Setumba, UBC News.
And with that, we'll take a quick break. When we return, we will be speaking with the Minister for ICT and National Guidance, Dr. Rhoda Ngonzi, about matters concerning the nation.
Juko.
Yo.
What you go? Check the shopping, man. What's your secret?
Haven't you heard of the parish development model, PDM?
Yes, I did, but I thought it was just a talk.
No, it is real. I and a few friends together formed a circle, accessed money from the PDM, invested in a poultry project, and now things are moving.
Juko. I thought I was one of your friends.
You are.
But you left me behind.
I didn't leave you in poverty. What you do, just visit your LC2 chairperson and your parish chief and start the process of economic transformation. Just like that. The parish development model is an initiative from the government of Uganda through the Ministry of Local Government designed to transform all lives of Ugandans for the better. PDM, my parish, my development, my life.
Are you tired of high fees and slow transfer time when sending money? Look no further. Airtel Money is here to revolutionize the way you move your money. We have revised our rates, and now sending money from Airtel to other networks in Uganda, East Africa, and to the rest of the world has never been more affordable. Plus, you can trust Airtel Money to get your money where it needs to go quickly and safely. Simply dial *185# and start sending money. Switch to Airtel Money today and experience unbeatable rates and top-notch services for all your local and international money transfer needs. Airtel Money. Instant, secure, borderless.
Yankwenu nawoloza babbi ku street bebanzibye saabo kankubulire natikka ebintu byange okuva China ne bangamba netaga tini namba nze nga sigine netuma omuntu omulala abindeetere kati ngenze mu URA bangambye ebintu byange tebiri mu manya gange era si byange musayina tini namba sakane bya tini namba sibitegeera Amene mfudde obusete newola bwewole yetini namba byebiki manange sente zange
tax identification number oba jite number musubuzi je wani sabiwala masasulire emisolo
kati ebinze njifuna nti abambikola nti
ebintu babigonza oyina ndaga mu
injirina
ogenda bugenzi ku website ya URA
www.ura.go.ug aho nolondako e-services then nogenda ku tin registration aho noteramu ne namba yo na mwaka gwo wazalibwamu amanya go gajja kweleta automatically awo nojuzamu n'ebirala bitono nnyo ebyetaagisibwa ng'ennamba y'essimu yo email address yo ne gy'obeera era nga bino osonubisanga emabega wandaga muntu yo then no submittinga nga ka message kajja direct ku simu yo ndakiika ntono nnyo
second aka message ogenda kafuna kebera ku simu yo
nga sina hey yes bannange bintu bikolera ddala bannaye obugayaavu kibi omanyi nti obugayaavu bukuzza muti bannange weebale Dangote bannange omponyeza omanyi ebintu byange bingi byowonyeza okubbibwa nzizeyo mu URA mbalage nti njirina.
Okubeera ne tini namba kikuyamba mu bintu bingi nnyo okugeza mu kusuubula n'okusuubuza eby'ebyamaguzi mu Uganda ne wabweru wa Uganda, okuddizibwa ensimbi okuva ku misolo gy'ozosasula, okufuna looni mu banka ez'enjawulo, okufuna layisinsi okuva mu government agencies zonna, okuwandiisa emmotoka yo n'okugula oba okutunda ettaka.
URA tukulaakulanyize wamu Uganda.
Welcome back. You are still watching News Tonight. Now with me in studio is the Minister for ICT and National Guidance, Dr. Chris Baryomonsi. Welcome to our viewers.
Thank you very much, Rhoda. Good evening, viewers. I'm happy to be here on ABC.
Yes. Now today your ministry it's presenting its performance in relation to the NRM manifesto. Some of the things I think you mentioned earlier was that the use of ICT services in the country has increased almost to a range of 14.8%. That's despite all the challenges were there. Just take us through some of these performance markers that your ministry has achieved and how tangible are these?
Yes, like we had communicated earlier on, these 2 weeks the manifesto weeks where government is accounting to the public and we are explaining the progress so far registered in terms of implementing the NRA manifesto which we presented to the population in 2021, upon which NRM was elected. And on the 12th of this month we launched, and every day a ministry or ministries come and give their detailed explanation to the public what has been done. So today, like we have said, our Ministry of ICT and National Guidance was giving an accountability, and what we said was that the ICT growth or ICT sector is one of the fastest growing sectors, growing at 14.8%, because other sectors have been challenged by COVID-19, but for us, COVID-19 presented a positive side that Ugandans and indeed elsewhere in the world realize the importance of ICT. Like when we announced lockdown and sent learners back home, now there was a greater need to have online teaching and learning, and therefore many people now went online, and that contributes to growth. So our sector, first of all, handles 3 broad areas.
Yes.
The first one is information and communication. That makes us the government spokesperson. So we speak for government. We communicate the work done by government across government, and we have told the public that we have tried our level best to inform the public, and I want to thank UBC. It's one of our main channels for government that relays what government is doing. We have spokespersons or communications officers in all government ministries and agencies, and in all district local governments, supported by the resident district commissioners. For instance, we have put a licensing requirement that every TV, every radio station which we license as government must provide at least 1 hour to allow government officials communicate to the public. So, and if a radio refuses to give that hour or a TV, we can have sanctions. So through those different channels, government is communicating. So we continue to strengthen the communication function of government. That's one of the major areas that we think we have scored in the last 2 years. Then the other area is the issue of digital transformation, the ICT. And that's why we're saying ICT is one of the fastest growing parts of the economy. And the ICT is a facilitator, because where we are now, for all the sectors and different disciplines, they must integrate the ICT in order for them to move faster, whether it's agriculture, whether it's health, whether it's education, whether it is managing environment, all these require ICT. And our major job as a ministry is to ensure that we develop tools, we develop systems, we support the government to automate processes so that things can be done much faster. And indeed, through our technical arm of the ministry, NITAU, and even the ministry headquarters itself, we have supported the entire government to have systems get automated. Now, for most of the government services now, they are online. You want to apply for a passport, you are having a land transaction, you have seen the judiciary, for instance, hearing cases through Zoom and digital appearances. So we are automating all this, and more is going to be done so that we move from manual analog processes into digital kind of space and digital processes. And we feel over the last 2 years there is a great appreciation of ICT. And this is true for the center here in Kampala and the surrounding areas, but also increasingly the local governments are appreciating the use of ICT and digital platforms. We continue to extend the national backbone, what we call the national backbone infrastructure. That is the national fiber. The fiber is like the road which takes internet to the communities. Because we are a landlocked country, we get the internet from the cable that passes under the Indian Ocean. From Mauritius, Indian Ocean, then it goes through Kenya, it comes here, and now our task is to make sure that we extend it. We have so far covered like 60% of the country, and we told the country that in the remaining 3 years, we should be able to cover the rest of the country so that all districts have access to this national fiber. But in addition, we shall also do what we call last mile extensions. It's like doing a main road, and then you do tributaries or feeder roads for you to reach. So we want to make sure that all the district headquarters are connected, sub-county headquarters, schools, health centers, and the government infrastructure, so that internet or connectivity is accessed in all parts of the country. That will enable us to do transactions using digital platforms. For instance, you can be able to do an online degree from Kisoro or West Nile. You can order for business items from China just using your phone. Once we have extended this connectivity, and of course we are bringing down the cost of internet for everybody to be able to afford, and also the cost of smart devices like phones, like laptops, iPads, tablets, all these. So there's a lot of work that is being done, and we explained in detail what has been achieved. And the other ones are the policies, the laws which we are drafting. Like we are coming up with a law, on, not a law, a policy on national guidance. Later on we shall draft a law, but now we have completed drafting a policy on national guidance so that we can push for this ideological orientation of Ugandans, because national guidance has everything to do with reminding ourselves that we are citizens, and the Constitution gives us responsibilities as citizens. We should be patriotic, that even when there are many things which make us different, whether it is the political party affiliation, religion, ethnic background, gender, all these areas which define the diversity that we are should make us proud that we are Ugandans, and we should be one, and we should be guided by interests of Uganda as a country. So this policy is going to be unveiled to the public, and we hope it will guide us as Ugandans. That despite whatever separates us, whatever makes us different, but we must know we all belong to a country called Uganda, and we must be proud as citizens of Uganda. So many things which we are doing under the ministry, and we're able to elaborate most of the milestones which we have achieved. Yes.
Now let's talk about some of the issues that are eating at this at our country, and some of the issues that have been in the news lately. The State House budget on the floor of Parliament has been an issue. The contestation of that 454, I think, billion shillings for State House. What is government's stand on this?
Well, I think yes, the budgeting process and the approval process have been on in the Parliament. But there are our colleagues in the Parliament who have just opted to vulgarize the debate on the budget, especially when it comes to President's office and the State House. They reduce President's office to mean President Yoweri Museveni. They reduce the State House to mean President Yoweri Museveni and his biological family. But that's not the case. Yes, President Museveni is the president, but president's office is very big. It has Ministry for Security, Ministry for Economic Monitoring, it has ISO, it has ESO, it has offices of RDCs, it has all DSOs, GSOs, all those are part of the president's office. So, but when you look at some of the MPs, the way they debate, it's like the budget for president's office is for the president in the person of Yoweri Museveni. The same with the State House. They argue reducing the State House as if it is a home, the way I have a home with my wife and children. State House is a national vote, it's a government vote, with the staff, with the departments, with the infrastructure. For instance, there was an item on clothing of 350 million shillings, where my friend, the spokesperson of FDC, Honorable Semuju Uganda, said, can you see, we spend 350 million shillings to dress the president. That's just a diversion. It's money for State House. To cater for what? To cater for uniforms of some of the staff in the State House, including bodyguards, the soldiers, dressing for the kitchen staff, the chefs who are in the State House. It is curtains, for instance, curtains, yes, for State House, and the presidential state lodges, the state lodges. There are state lodges all over the country.
Yes.
In Kisoro, in Karamoja, in Arua, almost all these towns in Uganda have presidential state lodges where they have to change beddings, to change curtains and clothing materials.
So characterized under dressing?
Under dressing, yes. You have under State House, there is a program of skilling. Skilling these younger people. You have seen the State House controller opening skilling centers where you see these young people putting on a uniform, on sewing machines and doing this skilling work. It is the State House using that budget that buys clothing material for those younger people who are under the skilling program. So for you, a distinguished member of Parliament, to reduce it to clothing of a president and you make it sensational is just wrong. So it is not correct to just reduce State House to the president and his family, to reduce president's office as if he's just president, one person sitting in an office like here. These are government departments with many members of staff, with many facilities, like the president under State House has these presidential farms. So when you see an allocation on veterinary support, there are these farms for government but manage the understate house. I think there should be like 4 or 5. 4 or 5. So very many facilities which fall under state house. So it's not about an individual. So that, but of course, because of our politics, somebody wants Ugandans to hate the president as if he's very extravagant, but it's not him who consumes these resources. The resources are for government work because there are many employees, many departments, many units under State House and President's office, and a lot of infrastructure like those state lodges which have to be maintained, So we thought we should clarify that, and it is the state which has to facilitate the office to function. And also we must know the president is a fountain of honor, and therefore government must facilitate the office for it to function. You know, for instance, delegations which are hosted by the president. Very many, every day he's meeting people. They have to feed. So when you start questioning allocation of food to feed these people, when you look at the bill of electricity, because they were saying, how can we allocate 500 billion for electricity? But what does it take to maintain all those state lodges in the country? Because they must have power. Including State House, including Nakasero, and all those. So all those consume these budgets. It is not true that it is an individual in the name of the president who takes the money, but it is all these facilities which are there for government and for all of us. Yes. So I just wanted to clarify that, because in the parliament it was portrayed wrongly as if parliament just appropriates for an individual, but these are government units.
Let's talk about gun violence. Week after week, we've had a case recently. We have many ongoing cases in courts of law in regards to gun violence, especially gun violence by men in uniform. When are we ever going to get to the bottom of this? These people are supposed to get special training before they're given these guns.
It is very unfortunate that of late we have witnessed this criminality, this gun violence. People who are authorized to hold firearms, to hold guns, are the ones misusing these guns. Starting from when a bodyguard killed the minister, it's as if he incited all those who have guns that you can easily shoot. But like we have argued earlier on, there is no crisis for people to fear that all police officers, all army officers, all people who are officially carrying guns are going to start shooting. We believe that these are isolated cases of individuals just misusing the gun. And these specific cases are being investigated, and hopefully we shall get to the root of the matter. But also what runs through when you see some of these cases, it's as if these particular individuals are stressed. Maybe they have individual problems, individual challenges. You look at the private servant who shot the minister. You look at this Ivan who shot the Indian moneylender. And all these, as if they have stress. And I think the major lesson which we pick from this is that these security institutions, whether police or army or any other, need, first of all, to do reforms within how they manage the guns.
Okay.
In terms of storage, who accesses a gun, how they manage their personnel, but also to put measures to handle issues of psychosocial support, issues of counseling, because you notice, like the case of the military bodyguard of the minister, there were reports that he had come from Somalia. Now, being in Somalia means you're on the front line. There are those stressful situations you go through. So what, trauma. So when a soldier like that returns, how does he get reintegrated into the regular main army? Maybe that person needs some counseling, needs some support before he can be reassigned. Like this police officer who came and shot the Indian businessman. He had financial stress. So are there systems within the police as an institution to manage individual officers who may have challenges and problems here and there? So I think their lesson is to pick, but there is no cause for alarm. I have bodyguards, but I'm not worried that they are going to shoot me simply because another bodyguard shot a minister. So the public should not be anxious, should not be alarmed. Of course, all of us should be conscious of our security, but we want to treat these as individual cases of criminality which are being investigated. Now, like the case of the Mukono incident, where
the
UCU student comes at night, deep in the night, and mistakenly tries to open a different room instead of that of her boyfriend. And the police officer, and I know him, he had been at my office earlier on for some engagement, he wakes up and opens fire. Well, while we may want to blame the young student, why she didn't move with the boyfriend and she left her behind, maybe she was also drunk, I don't know. Because I want to assume she knew where the boyfriend stays, but for her to have missed the room and go the other one, it can happen. But for the police officer,
is firing the first response.
Why couldn't he peep and see that this is the young girl? Because even girls can be thieves, but most unlikely that that young girl would be trying to open the door to illegally gain access, maybe to steal from the house. And why shoot directly at the young? Why wouldn't he shoot in the air to scare her and see how she responds? So, but she has been arrested, and I think he will be able to answer before the courts of law. So, I think it's also an abuse of the gun. He misused it. He would have been much more careful than the way he reacted to just shoot at the young girl. I'm sure, as a trained officer, he shouldn't have just shot the way he shot. So, it's like some officers who carry guns now have lost sense of direction. They just want to shoot anyhow. And I have seen police, the military, now trying to retrain them. So I think in addition to retraining them, they need to work on those counseling programs, psychosocial support, the leadership of police, the army, and the other security units needs to put a system where they support the different officers who are facing different challenges at an individual level, yes.
And as we try and wrap this up, Katonga Bridge that caved in just recently, and this is a major connect to other regions in the East African community. What are the developments on this?
Katonga Bridge, the UNRWA engineers started in earnest, and the UNRWA also has contracted one of the experienced contractors, CCCC, and you know, on the 14th of this month, UNRWA had said they will take 2 to 3 weeks to put an emergency bridge to enable pedestrians as well as vehicles to be able to cross. But the good news is that they may be able to complete it even much earlier than earlier announced. My interaction with the UNRWA today, they assured me that by early next week, the road should be open for motorists and the pedestrians, because they are going to do a road to enable vehicles and then prepare to do a stronger high-rise bridge. So now work is ongoing, and the contractor has assured us like within a week, starting today, meaning by early next week, or even by weekend, they should have completed this emergency bridge so that movement through Kampala-Masaka Road is restored. And thereafter, UNRWA is going to put what we call a Beire bridge, put another diversion. You put a Beire bridge, which should take like 1.5 months to construct, to assemble and put. And then now the construction of the main bridge again starts, where they are putting the emergency bridge, which is going to be a high rise, so that even if the water overflows, it cannot wash away this bridge. Yes. So those who travel on Kampala-Masaka Road, just be patient. I know the alternative now, which has been put through Sembabule, is quite far, because it adds in like 200 kilometers, and it's a great inconvenience to those who travel. But give it like a week, this one will be over. Yes.
And it will be safe for Ugandans.
And it will be safe, yes. The bridge which is being put as an emergency bridge will be able to accommodate vehicles of all types, whether it's a trailer or a heavy truck or small vehicles, all of them will be able to pass. The difference may just be that will be one lane, so that if you are coming from Kampala and their vehicle the other side, one side has to stop and this one crosses, the other one crosses, but it will be as strong as any other bridge to allow vehicles to flow. And also they are working with a time frame in mind to enable the pilgrims who are walking from Western Uganda coming to Namugongo to pass the bridge, because they have started from Kanungu, from Kabale, and from all those communities in southwestern Uganda, Barara. They are already on the way. Those from Kanungu are already on the way. By now they must be towards Barara or even beyond Barara. So these people working on the bridge are also working very hard, because we don't want the pilgrims to pass through Sembabule on foot. To add the 200 kilometers, it will be, they will mistime their arrival in Namugongo, because usually they start from their side, they count their days, so they arrive in Namugongo 1 or 2 days before they start. Otherwise, now if you add in going through Sembabule, add 200 kilometers, they might arrive in Namugongo after the third, when the event
definitely will
is over. Yeah, so the engineers have to work day and night to make sure that they complete the work early enough for the pilgrims to be able to cross. Yes.
Now, there are media reports that Ugandan academic papers are being rejected abroad, and this is under what they call expired courses. Now, this can be quite alarming for Ugandan scholars. What do you have to say about that?
Yes, today the papers were awash with these sensational stories that many of the programs being taught at our universities have expired. Expired meaning that they are yet to be reaccredited by the National Council for Higher Education. We expanded university education. Now we have over 50 universities in Uganda, and we established the National Council for Higher Education, which regulates tertiary and university education. And the courses being taught at universities must be accredited by the National Council. Even the universities themselves must be licensed by the council. So apparently there seems to be a problem between the universities and the National Council. What I know is that many universities have applied for these courses. So National Council usually accredits them for 5 years. And after 5 years, the National Council is supposed to reassess and see whether the universities are still on the course, whether there are new developments which should be integrated in these courses and so forth. So I think most of the universities have been applying for reaccreditation, but there seems to be issues of capacity at the National Council for Higher Education, because the best of my understanding, the council sits once in a quarter, and maybe there is understaffing at the council. So when they sit, they consider very few programs. So now there is a backlog, the way we have a backlog of cases in the courts. That's why now many of the universities that have applied for reaccreditation have not got responses from National Council. But it could also be possible that there are universities which are delaying to submit their courses. This is causing now like a crisis, because I saw in the papers that one student who had qualified from Makerere, I think, went to UK and they refused to admit him or her on the basis that the course had expired in Makerere. And this is very unfortunate. I think National Council for Higher Education needs to up its game by probably recruiting additional staff members, and maybe by sitting much more frequently than sitting once in a quarter, and clear this backlog. But also the experience in other universities outside is that they don't necessarily accredit these courses the way they are done here, but they accredit the university. You accredit the university and you have a quality assurance mechanism where you check on the university. But for you now to subject every course to accreditation for 5 years and then renew, it may be tedious for National Council to do that. So it may have to rethink how it does the regulation. Otherwise, it's going to cause a crisis, which I see, because on their website, they have warned the students that do not enroll for a course in a university which is not accredited. If you pursue that course and you get an award, whether it's a degree or a diploma certificate, it will be null and void. Now, if I apply in Makerere or in Mbarara or in UCU, and they admit me for a degree, and the students are paying money for National Council for Education, and I do my course, medicine or whichever, or law, and I complete, I graduate,
and it's null
and then you give me a document, that, an academic certificate, and then later on you announce it is null and void. Is it my fault as a student? I may have to sue you. So I think...
Are there any measures for government to, force, if I can call it that, the National Council of Higher Education to rectify these issues?
Yes, I think we are going to call them to account and have all these rectified. Because some of the errors could be with the universities maybe not submitting in time those different courses, but I also know that the National Council has a bigger part to blame, that they may not have sufficient capacity and resources to process all these applications in time. And that's why for 3, 4, 5 years, programs have been submitted there and they are unable to do the assessment and approve the accreditation or not. And maybe the universities find it difficult when they have submitted for reaccreditation to stop the programs. I think they submit in the hope that National Council is going to fast track the process. So for them, they continue teaching the course when it's not yet. I think we shall interest ourselves as cabinet, as government, and see whether National Council requires support from government in terms of resources. We shall support it so that it finds a way of clearing that backlog and gets at the par with where it should be, so that we don't get these challenges from the universities. We shall require the Minister of Education maybe to update us in the cabinet, and then we see what it requires from a government to support the whole process.
Thank you very much, Dr. Chris Baryomunsi, for chatting with us about these issues. And that does it for News Tonight for now. Do stick around.